motherfucking job. It ain't you. It's these motherfuckers right here. It's the motherfuckers on top. But now we gotta do this shit again.
So all I have to say is this.
We gotta do this shit again. And nobody tell me, and nobody here tell me why I get emotional. Why you talk like that? That's my motherfucking
That's fine. You can do that.
You don't know what I motherfucking feel. I want my ass off of this motherfucking
Exactly.
I've been here 30-something motherfucking years.
Yeah, I agree with you.
30-something fucking years. You tell me I ain't got no motherfucking pension.
Yeah, I agree.
And nobody tell me to calm my ass down.
I agree.
Fuck everybody tell me to calm down. God damn it. This is my motherfucking money y'all playing with.
Right. You're right, Dwayne.
Fuck that shit.
So this is what I'll say.
You gonna tell me how to motherfucking feel. Fuck that shit, man.
So this is what I'll
Fuck
say.
this shit.
Anytime the government,
Analyze that
anytime
shit.
the government bails out a corporation.
Now, could you imagine being at a place for 30 years? But I think it's a little bit more than 30 years because he did say 30 plus years. So I'm thinking at least 31 years to maybe 35 or up, which means he's been there for a long time. He might have been a truck driver or working at the trucker company, the yellow trucker company for like, probably about almost as long as I was living. Well, of course, I probably been like a little boy at that time. But could you only imagine that every day you go to work, sometimes you might go to work sick where nobody is going to show up just to help take care of your family. You make all kind of sacrifice for the company just to, I guess, put all your time and energy. Because mind you now, 30 years, they took the best part of his life away. That's when they took him, they used him when he's at his best, like during his prime years. And so 30 years is a long time, you know, and they take the best years out of him and use him. And then I think from what I heard, they go on bankruptcy. I talk about the yellow trucking company because that's what this is, the yellow trucking company. And they say things like, they can't really do no pension and take away his health insurance. And from the looks of it, a lot of them look like they might lose some jobs in a way. But like I was saying earlier, just imagine you doing all of that. You might miss some funerals just to get to work so you can make ends meet. You miss some funerals. It could be a close family member. It might be some friends. You miss a lot of. You may have showed up to your kid's graduation. You may not have showed up there, but you may sacrifice for that to go to work to provide for your kids. And you may even miss a couple of anniversaries. And I don't know what his I don't know what his marital status is or was. I don't know. He been married, but just imagine you miss a couple of anniversary, or you might have missed something very important for your wife, and your wife get upset. You got to explain that, my job holding me up. I had to do this and that, and your wife probably, if he had a wife, or not just him, but anybody that may have a spouse that might be unhappy, and that could cause a rift in your marriage and destroy your marriage, just to support the job you're in, just for them to tell you 30 plus years later that I appreciate your service. You got a service for working for an outstanding 30 years, but we no longer no longer taking pensions, giving out pensions. But here's a plaque for completing 30. Oh, I would have been angry just like him. I mean, he has every single right to be angry because that people money you're playing with. Now, I was thinking to myself some of the stuff I would have done. Mind you, now I'm not a very hostile person, but either I'm gonna take them to court and I'm gonna get my money that way, or somebody. I hate to say this, but somebody gonna end up getting hurt, messing my money, and I invested my hard-earned money, blood, sweat, tears for the company. And that's the same. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same company that say that we treat each other employer like family. We all stick together. We're family and stuff. But when it comes to finance, they'll drop you like a hat. They'll just drop you like a hot potato. Like, oh no, we're family. Okay, where that family at now? I mean, the big boss got all his money, just to avoid bankruptcy. He makes sure he get his share, but you're gonna leave these people out in the cold. That's so dirty. And some of the new things they do now. Some of the new things that they do is they find out that if they're going like they don't have enough money to pay for pensions and stuff, they make sure to fire you for whatever reason. Especially live in the state where I'm staying at, with that stupid law called right to hire, right to fire, which I think that violates all human rights. That violates people's livelihood when you do some crap like that. But they'll fire you for whatever reason. Try to find a way to fire you, so they don't have to pay you pension after you put all your hard work in that job. But they'll make sure to let you go for no reason. And they wonder why people acting crazy, get mad, and just like this man, or they might have somebody who don't have much to lose and want to take it all out on not everybody, but the company, and that boss gonna have something on him. Like when it comes to people money, you just don't play with people money like that. You don't play with people's feelings, because this guy, you can kind of clearly see that he's real upset, and rightfully so. And they expect for people to. I mean, that just the mentality of America. It's just so demonic. It's so wicked. You don't treat people like that. You saying that how good of a worker they are and everything, but you don't compensate them for their hard work. And the pension is supposed to help him out when he retire, because he might be the type of person who soon he retire, because he look older, but he don't look old. He look like he about like in his maybe the mid to I say like in the late 50s, maybe early 60s, and he still got a little bit of life to live. Because I just noticed that when they take the best years out of you, you be an older person, too old to work. When you retire, you won't do much of anything except go to your couch and flip channels and waiting to die. You know, it's like they don't really. It's like you don't really have a life to live. But he's in the right age to retire, and when he retire, he want to stay home, and he may have a wife. I don't know. He might want to go out with his wife sometimes, or sit in the porch with his wife doing the cooking. He sit in the porch, read a newspaper, or either spend time with his grandkids if he have grandkids, and go fishing. And he might bring his grandson with him if he have him, to go fishing with him. Do some of the basic things that a lot of retired people would do, and enjoying the later years in life. Just being with the wife and the grandkids. That sound pretty. That sound pretty cool. But sound pretty nice. If with anybody want that, especially a man. Any man will want to retire, be home with his wife, make love to his wife, because old people can still make love. Older people. And grandkids come over. He spend more time with his He spend more time with his grandkids, and you know that's the kind of retirement we all want. But unfortunately, we live in a time where people can't afford to do that, because soon when they retire, they didn't really set aside another one. Which is another thing. I'm not trying to fault him, but you just can't put all your eggs into one basket. You got to learn to. You got to have this mindset that these people can drop me like a bad habit. They could just drop me. They could just let me go in a drop of a hat, and they don't really have to owe any explanation to me. I can't be loyal to them like that. I can't put everything on that job and expect something out of that. Because at the end of the day, they don't even care about nobody but themselves. That's just selfish. That's just the type of mentality America have. So a lesson learned on this, make sure you have a money set aside by your own self. Just have a saving account or a CD, and just set your money there and get yourself straight, because you can't trust these shady little what, you just can't trust them. So that's a lesson that should be learned, is don't put your eggs into one basket. And also, cause truck driver is a good job. I'm not condemning anybody who drive trucks, but just try not to put your, like I say, try to learn some trade that where you can have your own business, operate your own business, unless you own your trucking business. But just try to have a skill where you can use that to you can use your skill to earn more money, and when you earn that more money, you can set it aside. Because you got some people, not just truck. I'm not saying anything wrong with that job. Well, the yellow trucking company, yeah, something they shady for that. But I'm talking about you working at a plant, or you work any kind of factory jobs. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't even trust them to give me a pension. I'm not saying that. I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, yes, that's understand. You can easily rely on that. But now things have changed. Prices are going up, and that means they're gonna have to pay their workers more money. You can't trust that. You gotta be prepared for certain things to come. You gotta be prepared for them to do some shady, underhanded things to look out for their hide instead of yours. So, that's like I say, that's a lesson to be learned with this situation. And I kind of feel, kind of sorry for the guy. And I hope that, I just wish him well, from this time forward. And I hope he don't have to work a little bit longer, because I just, notice that they keep setting the retirement age forward and forward and forward. It's like they don't want to give you nothing. They want to get they're going to get a lot of bangs, but they don't want to give you a lot of bucks for your bangs. But, just, tell me what you think about this. And I think this is sad. And hopefully, what I'm saying, I hope he be all right and everything. But remember, don't put all your trust in none of these companies. Look out for your own self. I like to add like another video to this. Something I just forgot to put in, that some of these workers that's work with yellow, and I think this is nationwide. It could be, I don't know, but there's some of them been interviewed about this, mentioning strike, worker strike. I'm not really sure, but I think yellow company are afraid of a strike, which would cost them a good bit of money, because I think they are facing bankruptcy. But just imagine some of these hard workers that you see on the screen right here. Some of them, they just look like basically lost sheeps now. I mean, they put all the effort and time and energy, years in that company. And I think it's to the point now that a lot of workers are just getting comfortable. But just listen to this interview and see what they're going to say about this. Because somebody got a phone to record them, and I guess they're giving their opinion about this. But here goes.
So fellas, what y'all think about today being the last day of yellow if they don't pay that $50 million?
No answer.
No answer?
Sad, bro. Sad. I gave this company over 30-some years of hard work, labor, surgeries, and all kind of stuff. Hurt myself on the job, and to come down to this right here. What can you do, man? It's sad, man.
It's crazy.
Well, good morning. How you doing? My name is Anthony Capri. Well, we still got a couple of days to find out exactly what's going to happen. So we are hoping and praying that everything works out for the better of the union brothers. So for now, we got to keep praying and hoping that this stuff works out for the best of all of us. I mean, that's all I can say right now. We got to keep praying. We got a couple of days more to go to figure out what this union guys and the yellow freight company going to work out for now.
So today
You really got to look at
is Friday. Yellow have till Sunday to pay $50 million to the central fund. If they don't pay that money, Yellow will be out of business pretty much, because they cannot afford a strike.
Hey, sorry about that. But yes, they actually interview some of these workers about the unfortunate incident, and they facing, I guess they looking for to union to try something. They're looking for the union workers, and they got to pay a good bit of money. But my thing is, though, some of these jobs receive way more money than this. A lot more money, especially during the COVID-19 situation. There was a lot of these businesses were given like a large lump sum of money, and they could at least pay this much just to make sure their workers are good. But they don't care about them. Not even the unions. The unions don't even care about them. And you know what? Speaking of like workers and stuff, because I just one thing I learned, I did a lot of, I listen to people and also kind of look at certain situations. People want to say that they're human resource. They look out for the well-being of the workers. They say, no, the human resource. If you got any issues, come to us. We can get you right. We make sure you get all benefits, which is in a way is true to a degree. The human resource is supposed to be help the workers and their well-beings. It's supposed to. Keyword. It's supposed to, but that's not what really. I mean, that's what they tell you, but the human resource isn't really supposed to benefit the workers. The human resource is to benefit the company. The purpose of a human resource is to make sure the company is still standing, is to make sure the company is still active and running with or without you. The only thing I can say the human resource do is make sure, as long as you supplying the company money, that's all. That's the only they care about you. Other than that, they can give less than a damn. And I mean, honestly, because I was looking at some of them, many of them having I hope and I pray, hope, which is good to pray. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Yeah, praying is good, but it requires a lot of action. You can't depend on these. You can't depend on these bastards right here. Excuse my French. I don't mean to sound vulgar or sound a little upset, but I'm just looking at it. Just kind of it just gets to me, to the fact that me growing up, I've been told if you work hard, if you're a hard worker, or if you work, good to come to you. Just work and save your money, and just which is save your money is right. But if you just work hard, good prevail. People want hard workers, and hard workers get promoted. Hard workers can get promoted to a higher staff because they work hard. Man, that's a bunch of horse crap. I mean, these men are hard workers, and I don't know the end results of this, but it looked like they could be asked out. Like they could be out of a job. And I'm sorry, because this one guy he been there for about over 30 something years. One of the workers that was interviewed. I'm sorry, but I see myself. I'll be a fool if I stay in a company. Well, maybe in a trucking company that could be a little different because that's unexpected. But let's just say a plant or anything. I'll be some kind of a fool to stay at a place for that many years, depending on them to give me a retirement and benefits and pension. Like I gotta be some kind of a idiot, some kind of fool. And they use these guys as slave laborers in a way. They're like, okay, we don't need you. I mean, we care about our money more. We care about y'all, but forget y'all. Even though we promise you a pension, we actually promise you that, but we have to renege on that promise because you're facing bankruptcy. Oh no, the hell you don't. You better give me my money, or I'm gonna hurt you. I have that kind of mentality. You don't play with people's money like that. I'm sorry, but that's just something you just don't do. I brought up in knowing that it's a few things people don't play with. Of course, their wife you don't play with, or their family, or the kids, and most importantly, you don't play with a person money. That can get you. That's a sure way of getting yourself hurt. And who knows? You got may have one of these people right here that just start snapping because they feel like they got nothing to lose and they older and they don't get nothing. I mean, they got to be careful. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you make a promise to people, you got to deliver the promise. I mean, people like that, you can't. I mean, they can no longer respect the company like they probably thought that the yellow company is a good, respectable job, and and these workers lose all kind of respect for them because they're a bunch of liars and crooks. I mean, of course, I understand that you went bankruptcy, but you got to think, where did all that money go? Where did all that money go? I mean, you just can't make a promise then later on renege on it. When you make a promise, you gotta deliver that promise.